The Russian Orthodox Church is re-examining its stance on in vitro fertilization reproductive technology in light of medical advances. A draft of the proposed document was published earlier this month on the official site of the Russian Church. Comments are being collected by the intercouncil presence of the Russian Church until March 29th. Joining me now on Skype to talk more about this is Dr. Joseph Meaney, president of the National Catholic Bioethics Center. Dr. Meaney, welcome back. Always great to speak with you. Reports indicate the Russian Orthodox Church is initiating this discussion in light of the medical advances surrounding in vitro fertilization, also known as IVF, in the past 20 years. What have some of the major ethical concerns been?
Right. So the Orthodox Church has a very similar teaching to the Catholic Church, and they have opposed in vitro fertilization for the main reasons that the Catholic Church does as well, that it's not respectful of the lives of these children, that they're treated as objects, created in laboratories, et cetera. But it seems like there's a proposal from some people to say, well, you could do IVF in some kind of morally illicit way that didn't put too many embryos at risk of being killed. And so they're thinking about changing their position, but it would be a shame if they did.
And how have those concerns been addressed by advancements in science? What does this draft document indicate?
Yeah, so they don't really go into much detail as to what scientifically has changed. And in fact, I believe that the way in vitro fertilization works is pretty much the same. The question is whether it could be done in such a way that there weren't spare embryos being produced, that it was done in such a way that there weren't any fetal reductions where they kill embryos if there are more than one that implants in the womb of the mother, if there's no pre-implantation genetic diagnosis and the killing of embryos that are made to have genetic conditions, all those are very good objections to have, and the Orthodox Church brings those up. But does it really respect the dignity of the human person to be conceived in a laboratory rather than in a family? And there are many Orthodox who don't believe that is acceptable in any case. So that's why there's a debate within the Orthodox Church.
Yeah, another question I have is, what hasn't changed in terms of the Russian Orthodox Church's position?
Right. So they're very strongly behind, life begins at conception and has to be defended. So, the position on abortion is 100% strong. And also with regards to in vitro fertilization, that they would say, any procedure in IVF that treats a conceived human embryo as an object, to be discarded or killed is completely unacceptable to them. Really, the crux of the issue is, is it dignified or not? Is it acceptable or not to be conceived in a laboratory, even if all those that are conceived are immediately implanted in the mother?
And in your opinion, what other factors are really playing into the timing of this discussion?
Well, one of the things that has to really be weighing on the Russians right now is their demographic problems. They have such a low birth rate, population decreasing, et cetera. And I think there's a lot of political pressure that's going into place to say, look, we need to raise the birth rate. Why can't we accept some form of in vitro fertilization from the church, the Orthodox Church? And of course, it's a political pressure, not really a theological. I think they need to be focusing more on the dignity of the human person as they are conceived. Should it be by the loving embrace of the father and the mother, or by a lab tech? And what is truly right? And I think the Orthodox Church knows the answer to that. That's why so many within that church do not want IVF under any circumstances. But there are some that I think are tempted by other considerations, such as the political situation, the demographic situation.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do we know yet, what kind of reaction this is generating there?
Yeah, certainly there are many Orthodox leaders and many Orthodox pro-life leaders who say, look, if you accept this, IVF under very limited circumstances, you have already kind of opened a door, and there's nothing that's going to stop it from growing. When the Anglicans accepted contraception under very, very limited conditions in 1930, it just blew out to where contraception was accepted under all circumstances. So again, it's very dangerous, to give up the principle that the human person should be conceived by their parents and not by a third party.
Well, Dr. Meaney, thank you so much for coming on, for your time and your analysis. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.